14th. We start the day in Bad Axe, and of course the first thing we need to do is get back to Harbor Beach. So we had to double back upon our trail. We actually took a slightly different path. Instead of the detour going south, we took the detour going north. Either way, we had to get back to Michigan 142 to get back to Harbor Beach, and from then back onto Michigan 25 to continue our path around the edge of the thumb of Michigan. So that's what we did. Along this stretch of highway, we had Lake Huron continually on our right, and we're really driving mostly through farms and small towns. Not particularly interesting from a scenery point of view, but still lovely nonetheless. And good morning. Welcome to another day on the road. We're going around the edges today, almost literally, because here we are in the thumb of Michigan. And if my hand were Michigan, we are kind of right here at the tip of the thumb here at Pointe-à-Bec Lighthouse. I'm probably pronouncing that horribly wrong because it's French and I'm no good at pronouncing French. Our goal today would be to go back down this side and then back up through the Bay City area and maybe as far up as Sault Ste. Marie, but probably not quite that far. Maybe we'll get up to Mackinaw or somewhere of that nature. It promises to be a lot of, well, Lake Huron, as it is over there. Lots of lighthouses and that kind of thing. It's also Go Fest today. So, yeah, we're trying to catch a few Pokemon while we're out as well. But probably not going to get very many because we're going to be driving most of the time. But it is absolutely gorgeous today, and like a lot of the days we've had on this trip, should be really, really, really good. Let me take the camera here and show you around a little bit here. We have several things of interest here on the site. The first, of course, would be Lake Huron itself, and we saw a little of Lake Huron yesterday. Of course, Lake Huron, I believe, is the largest of the Great Lakes, and we just have a stunning, sparkling day out today, which is really, 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 really cool. Let's move around a little bit. Last time I was here was back in 2020, and was practically deserted. Of course, 2020, you know why it was deserted. There were just not a lot of people around. We have the Pointe-à-Bec Lighthouse itself, and of course they have some outbuildings as well. I believe this was once the lighthouse keeper's house that was moved originally, and then they moved it back. So who knows? It's awfully strange. They do have a little museum here that you can go into. I've seen enough lighthouse museums that I really don't care to. And actually came here originally because there's a geocache right over there. But I've already found it, so I don't need to go looking for it again. Considering it's a Saturday morning and a beautiful day, there's not as many people here as you might think. Really like this old barn here. I think it was a barn originally. I'm not sure about that. This seems to be, I believe, the oldest building here. Let's see if we can kind of go over here and get a better look at it. If you need a restroom, they're over on the right. And there they are. I guess it doesn't look as barn-like as it looks kind of schoolhouse-like. Could have been, I suppose. Don't know what kind of settlement they had up here at that time. I can see, though I don't know if it picks up on camera out there, there's a sailing boat, kind of a larger one. I think that probably gets a little bit lost in the haze. Now, I used to know what this USLSS means. I believe it's United States Lighthouse Something Service. I don't think the S stands for something, but pretty sure that's the acronym. All right. Well, we have a long day of driving ahead of us, so we need to get back on the road. We'll talk to you a bit. After leaving Point of Bark, the scenery becomes a little bit less interesting. We're going through a lot of forest land at this point. We've already shown quite a lot of the scenery here, going through forest land and farmland, and it really is pretty much the same. So the footage is a bit sporadic during this stretch of the road until we get to Bay City. There are some points of interest along the way, including a dark skies area in one of the state parks near here. It's a place that I would really, really love to go to when I have more time and can actually be there at night and be able to see the stars on clear nights. That's one of the really cool things about the Thumb area, Michigan. There's not a lot of development. There's not a lot of light pollution. Shortly after we crossed the Saginaw River, we cut off of Michigan 25 and bid farewell. We've been on that road for a while now, and it's been a good friend to us, but now it's time to explore other avenues, quite literally speaking. First of which is Michigan 13. We could have stayed on Michigan 13 a lot longer than we did and kind of go around some of the area that we ended up driving through, but we are more or less committed to staying around the edges as much as possible. So in Pinconning, we cut off onto State Road, which leads to a tiny little town called Aranac, at which point the road changes name to Aranac State Road. That road in turn leads us up to US Highway 23, the road that we're going to be staying on for more or less the entire rest of the day. Surprisingly enough, filming along this route is actually a bit challenging, and part of the issue, of course, is how samey some of this scenery is. It's not overly distinctive like you would have in northern Michigan or in Minnesota or North Dakota as in the prior series. There's always a little bit of interest in the changing landscape, and here the landscape just doesn't change very much. The towns all look pretty similar to each other. They have the same kinds of businesses. The light industrial areas, they look pretty similar. The farms look pretty similar. And all the while you have the lake, which also is looking very similar. As a result, I probably didn't get as much footage of this last little bit of the day than I normally would. And part of it is because you've seen it all before. start, another lighthouse. This is 40 Mile Point, and this is kind of the last major rest before I'm going to have before I get to my hotel tonight. I'll be staying in Mackinaw City. I've actually been to this lighthouse before, back in 2020. Nothing much has changed. There are supposedly people here. I mean, I see cars and stuff, so there are people here. I just don't know where they are. They're probably on the beach. This lighthouse was built in 1896, and we'll get a look at it in a sec. This is the signal building here, fog signal building. Got a few other little things around for support building. I guess you could call them support buildings. And there's a nice little beach here. Now, my trip out here in 2020 was actually before the season started. So it was cold. There's a few people around, but not too many. Little double-tiered bench here, and the lighthouse proper over there. We'll wander over there. Actually, I might get a much better look if the trees aren't in the way. Oh, there's a little placard here about the lighthouse, which I'll film for you, and if you need to read it, you can slow down or stop this video and read about the history of the lighthouse. Little lifeboat over there. The other side of the placard here. It's just like Star Wars. Now, if I'm recalling rightly, and I might not be, there is a museum here, a little museum. But I could be thinking of yet a different lighthouse. When I came here in 2020, there were so many that I visited that they do kind of all mush together. There we go. Now there's also down on the beach, though it's a bit of a walk and I don't want to go there now. There's a shipwreck. The remains of a wooden ship that wrecked off the coast here. Somebody's drying their laundry over here. There might be somebody living here. a sign here pointing to the shipwreck. Now I've seen photos of the shipwreck and there's very little of it left. There's just a few cross beams and that sort of thing. Oh. Alright, so yeah, it looks as though somebody is actually living here. So I'm gonna get out of their yard. And of course, we have the obligatory poison ivy sign. All right, I think it's time to go. See you on the road. One of my regrets about this particular chapter here is that I didn't get footage of us actually getting to Mackinaw City, and that's an oversight on my part. I was anxious to end the day, but beyond that, it was getting a little bit late in the day, and at this point we found ourselves driving almost directly west. With that came the sun in our eyes and directly into the camera. And so filming in that sort of situation, it's just not ideal. So as a result of that, we don't actually have any footage of us arriving in Mackinaw City. Because the scenery was nothing special, it really wasn't, to my mind, worth filming. I kind of regret now that I didn't get filming us actually coming through the main strip of Mackinaw City and seeing all the fudge stores and the souvenir shop, because that is kind of a big part of its charm. But I didn't even really realize that I didn't get footage of that until after I started editing this footage together. So yeah, sorry about that, folks.